Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Well, good morning. It's Wednesday morning and I'm going to read a quick article that I found very interesting. I actually have been to this website before. It's shtfplan.com and they have a lot of really good articles here. So I encourage you guys to head over there and take a look at their articles. But I think I'm going to use this as one of my go-to places to, to keep up with things that are happening, because I forgot the name of the person that runs this site, but he's a really good guy. And he's been in the prepper game for a long time, and he puts out a lot of really good information. So I just found this article very interesting. And even though it's few weeks old, it's about 3 weeks old, it's still extremely relevant, and I'm going to go ahead and read it. It's not too long, but in case any of you want to read this actual article, I'll leave the link in the bottom of the description where I normally leave my links to articles. All right, and the title is "The U.S. Faces a Catastrophic Food Supply Crisis," right, as farmers struggle. Right. But first, ladies and gentlemen, let me do a quick shout out to Anon. Anon, thank you very much for the coffee. All right. Thank you very much for the donation. Truly appreciate it. All right. So thank you. And there was also someone else who bought me a few coffees yesterday, actually. And they requested that I do not shout out their names. So you know who you are. So thank you very much. So I'm not sure if you have heard, ladies and gentlemen, but YouTube is starting to, I don't know why. I have no idea why. I really don't look into these things too much. But I heard about it from one of my subscribers, one of our community members. And I've also heard about it from other YouTube channels that YouTube is now starting to, I don't know if I want to call it an adpocalypse like before. I really wasn't part of that before. I wasn't doing YouTube videos back then, but I guess they've started to really cut down on who they recommend and all that stuff. So if you enjoy the content, please do give it a like and just support the channel in the ways that you know how. Take a look at the links below, let a few ads run through so that I can keep doing what I do as far as prizes. I guess one of our community members told me that now YouTube is starting to I guess knock down on channels that do giveaways. So I don't know, but we'll figure it out. But I have noticed a really big drop in the ad revenue, which is fine, because like I told you before, I don't do this for revenue. I like to gain revenue so that I can do reviews and I can do giveaways. But thank you to the people that are donating through the coffee link. That really helps a lot, and it'll allow me to keep doing reviews and giveaways. All right. And from now on, when I do a giveaway, I'll have to do it discreetly and not announce it in the title. All right. So make sure you guys try to watch the videos, especially when I'm reviewing something. I may be doing a giveaway for that, but I'm not going to advertise it in the title if YouTube is just going to end up, I'll say discriminate against the video because a giveaway is being done. All right. So having said that, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into this article. So again, the title of the article is "The U.S. Faces a Catastrophic Food Supply Crisis in America as Farmers Struggle." So now, when people think of food crisis, they start thinking about climate change, be it global warming or global cooling or all of the sporadic storms and weather events that we're having. But not too many people think about the foundation of what farming is and who the farmers actually are and what they have to go through, all right, in order to actually provide us with the food that goes on our plate. So you see, about a century ago or so, about 90% of the people in the United States of America farmed in one way or another. They either farmed to make a living or they either farmed to just put food on their tables. And now you're looking at maybe 1 to 3% of the people in America are farmers. Okay, so it's a drastic reversal in the manner by which we are fed here in this country in the last 1 century. All right, so, and I personally think that has catastrophic implications in it itself, because when you go from 90% of the population feeding the country or feeding themselves to only 1 to 3% of the population feeding the country, that is pretty dangerous, right? They say don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's kind of like what we're doing. We're relying as a nation, and other nations are relying on us as well, because we export to other nations, but we're relying as a nation on only 1 to 3% of the population in order to feed us. All right, so let me stop babbling and let me go ahead and start this article. And like I said, it's not very long, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to go ahead and read this and I'll let you guys go for today. Okay, so it says here, American farmers are battling several issues when it comes to producing our food. Regulated low prices, and I may intervene in here a couple of times, like I usually do, but regulated low prices, tariffs, and the ability to export have all cut into the salaries of farmers. They are officially in crisis mode, just like the United States food supply. And it's like I stated in other videos, ladies and gentlemen, I don't agree 100% with tariffs. I think that some tariffs are justified, but most are not. And back when the current administration decided to start putting tariffs on things, I remember saying on a video that tariffs don't do anyone any good. That they may help put some people to work, all right? But in the end, it is us, the consumers, who will end up paying more for that same exact product that we were getting before, all right, because of tariffs, right? So the farm economy is in pretty tough shape, said John Newton, chief economist at the American Farm Bureau Federation. When you look out on the horizon of the things to come, you start to see some cracks. Average farm income has fallen to near 15-year lows under President Donald Trump's policies. And ladies and gentlemen, please don't make this a political thing, okay? I'm reading the article. If any of you know me, you know that I'm not right, you know that I'm not left, okay? So this is not a political thing. I'm reading this article. So please don't start saying, oh, it's because of Trump, it's because of this. As I've said before, our political system is like an eagle. There's a right wing and a left wing, and only one head controls both. Okay, so think about that. Right. In some areas of the country, farm bankruptcies are soaring, and with slightly higher interest rates, many don't see borrowing more money as an option. And there's a lot of things playing in factor here. Look at that. The interest rate is playing a game here too. So, well, a lot of farmers are going to give the president the benefit of the doubt, and have to date. But the longer the trade war goes on, the more that dynamic changes, said Brian Kuhl, executive director of Farmers for Free Trade, according to Politico. With no end to the disastrous trade war in sight, many farmers have traveled to Washington to share their plights with the president himself, hoping that he'll end the trade war that's exacerbating an already precious food crisis. Farmers make up a fairly large chunk of President Trump's base, and an unwillingness to put food production in the United States first could be detrimental for President Trump's re-election chances in 2020. It could also be the beginning of a catastrophic food shortage. You see, ladies and gentlemen, what this article would have been so much better if they would have just kept any kind of politics out of it whatsoever, okay? Because there is a very serious message that is being put out here. But the problem is one of the problems that I see with many people nowadays, and myself included, right? I'm not perfect. But one of the problems is that when they read an article like this, they take away the part that's really not important, and then they concentrate on the parts that's not important, right? So here, what's the part that's most important about this article? Is that we are in a food crisis, and if you take a look at the world food production, we've been at a deficit as a world for the last 2 or 3 years, I do believe. I think it's, the last 2 or 3, maybe 4 years. We've been at a deficit, meaning that our bumper crops, all right, and on bumper crops, but what I mean is this: our leftovers have been diminishing. Our reserves have been diminishing a little by little over the last few years. All right, so we have less now as far as reserves than we did 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. Okay, so a person looks at this automatically when they see this political stuff in it, they concentrate on the politics of it, and they start playing the blame game instead of concentrating on what can I do. What can I do to protect myself, against what is here and what is coming? All right. So don't be blindsided by politics. Don't be blindsided by all of these things that are used to propagandize us to be against each other. Okay. And here it says, food crisis in the making. Farm bankruptcies reach horrifying levels. And it says here, we are amidst a food crisis. Farms in the United States Midwest are filing for Chapter 12 bankruptcy at an alarming rate. And many are saying President Donald Trump's trade war is taking the most blame. I just proved my point. All right, it says here, the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis warned back in November of rising Chapter 12 bankruptcies used by family farmers to restructure massive amounts of debt. The Fed said that the strain of low commodity prices is starting to show up not just in bottom line profitability, but in simple viability. The increase in bankruptcies was driven by woes in Wisconsin's dairy sector, which shrunk by about 1,200 operations, or 13%, from 2016 to October of 2018. You've had farms that have gone out of business, that have gone bankrupt because of this trade war, said Kuel, a Farmers for Free Trade. There's a lot of farmers going through tough conversations right now with their lenders. And so far, the government's solution to the problem they created is to give more welfare to farmers, placing the burden on the back of taxpayers. As the government continues to, and let me go ahead and do another interruption on that one, ladies and gentlemen. So this is for all those people. I know that a lot of people are hesitant to think that it's okay for some people to receive, like handouts in the form of entitlements, be it food benefits or medical benefits and stuff like that. And I am of the mindset that he who does not work shall not eat. However, ladies and gentlemen, charity is virtuous, right? I believe 100% in charity. I believe in helping our fellow man. But I just like to put this out there for anyone that criticizes people who receive entitlements, all right? And I just want to let you know, I'm not for a free meal. Okay, I am for a hand up. I want to help someone who needs to be helped willingly. I want to help them willingly, and I want to help them succeed. I don't want to just feed them for a meal. Okay, so I'm all for that. However, I think that the biggest form of welfare that we have here in the United States is corporate welfare. Take all of these huge corporations that we have nowadays, Google, Facebook, Amazon, all of these big corporations, and not just them, but GE, all the big guys, Walmart, they've all received corporate welfare from our government. But we don't hear a lot of people talk about that, when they're comparing people that receive entitlements and things like that. Okay, so just keep in mind that our biggest welfare problem in this country is not the welfare that's provided to the individual, but it's this is my opinion, by the way, but it's the welfare that's provided to the corporations. All right, in my opinion, I think every form of welfare, no matter what, should be cut out. All right, no one is going to starve. All right, no one will starve. We are giving people. I think for the most part, we all have good hearts, and we will never let anyone starve. All right. But with all of these handouts that the government does to these corporations, what they're pretty much doing is they're pretty much deciding what businesses fail and what businesses succeed. All right. And that's another part of what's called crony capitalism. Man, I sure did divert from this article. Sorry about that. As the government continues to pass the burden on to others while destroying the food industry, this could very well reach apocalyptic levels. Nothing will see this country spiral into complete disarray like a lack of food. Alarmingly, scientists have already said that the global food supply system is broken. All right. And then it says here, to put this simply, government interference in the agriculture industry is responsible for the food crisis we are all about to face. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're going to take anything away from this, all right, I would ask you to take this away. To put it simply, government interference in the agriculture industry is responsible for the food crisis we are all about to face. Not about the government interference, but the food crisis we are all about to face. So, what are you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Are you storing up food? Because, number one, it's not going to get any cheaper. Except for in my case, that I buy a number 10 can of Augason Farms cornbread mix, muffin mix, and then 2 days later it goes on sale for 30% off. But that's another video. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are you doing? Are you storing up food? Are you just listening to this video for entertainment? If you aren't, I appreciate it. But I'm sure that you and your family would appreciate it more if you had some food put away. All right. If you're not prepping, all right, and you don't have to call it prepping if you don't want to. All right. But if you're not putting away some food every payday, all right, or every time that you go shopping for a rainy day, trust me, ladies and gentlemen, the rainy day is coming, okay? And I can't tell you when, but it will be here. It will come, all right? And for different peoples, it's different reasons. It does not have to be a systemic problem. It doesn't have to be a nationwide or a worldwide problem. I think we will have a nationwide and worldwide problem that is very visual, that everyone can see with their own eyes eventually. But it could be anything as little as someone, breaking an arm and not being able to work for 2 months, or whatever, getting really sick and not being able to show up to work and you don't have insurance, or for whatever reason. All right. If you want to use one of those reasons to prep food, go ahead. If your wife or your husband or your friend or your family members ask you, hey, why are you prepping food? And you're like, well, listen, I read a story somewhere where this guy broke his arm and he couldn't work for 2 months. And since he had a few months of food put away, he didn't have to worry about buying food for 2 months. All right. If you need a reason to start prepping, use any reason you want. All right. Because any reason makes sense when you think about it. All right. It doesn't have to be for the end of the world. Why would I prep for the end of the world if it's the end of the world? I'd be partying it up if I knew the world was going to be ending tomorrow. Right. So use whatever reason it is that you think will justify you prepping. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I say this and I'll say it again. Time is getting short. And why do I say time is getting short when I don't know when any of this may happen? Because yesterday passed and today is a new day. And tomorrow will come. All right? So time is getting short. Every day, time is getting shorter. To us having some kind of a crisis where we will need to depend on our preps in order to be able to maintain somewhat of a standard of living that resembles what our standard of living is today. Ladies and gentlemen, I've blabbed on way too much. So let me thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed this, please do give that thumbs up, a little click, and if you know someone or if you have someone you love that you think needs to get a little push to start prepping, I'll go ahead and share this with them. All right. As far as supporting the channel, just take a look at the links below. All right. I'd appreciate it all. I appreciate all you guys do as far as supporting the channel. Trust me, it's a lot more than what I ever expected. But then again, I have a great community here. All right. Or we have a great community here. So thank you very much again, ladies and gentlemen. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place. And you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. This is Alaska Prepper, and I'm out.